All right, welcome back in from the newsroom to the old classroom.
Right.
Back to school. Former 60 Minutes correspondents Scott Pelley and Sharyn Alfonsi are headed to Columbia University's journalism school, where they will serve as journalists in residence during the upcoming academic year, teaching students through lectures, workshops, special events after their controversial departures from CBS News.
But that's only part of the story. So their old boss, former 60 Minutes executive producer Bill Owens, he's reportedly working to build a rival investigative news operation. Now, according to the New York Post, Owens, who resigned last year over the controversy surrounding CBS's editing of its Kamala Harris interview, is trying to raise $50 million to fund 2 years of long-form investigative reporting.
Owens is reportedly hoping to recruit former 60 Minutes colleagues to join the venture, although sources tell the Post that those journalists are going to likely have to accept a significant pay cut.
Yeah, it would add up to that. Meanwhile, turmoil appears to continue inside 60 Minutes. The show's new executive producer, Nick Bilton, reportedly sent staff a stern memo demanding an end to leaks about the show.
Well, the irony, the memo itself, it was leaked to the press. Couldn't even keep that under wraps. All right, joining us now to weigh in, journalist Kym Douglas, also the host of The Big Take here on Newsmax, Ed Henry. Ed, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Going to start with you on this. So as far as that they are starting their own investigative streaming thing, okay, that's capitalism, right? Your old job says take a hike, and then you want to run out and start something, go ahead. If it gains traction, I guess good for them. That's my thought on that.
Yeah, it's capitalism. If there's a marketplace for this, great. But I doubt that, botched journalism, anti-Trump nonsense has much of a marketplace. They're going to Columbia Journalism, two of the correspondents, I think Scott Pelley and Sharyn Alfonsi, because cushy liberal gigs at Columbia is probably all they're going to find these days, because people are sick and tired of twisting things around. In fact, I'd love to maybe audit that class at Columbia. If they have a class about how to selectively edit Kamala Harris's answers to try to help her in a presidential election and go after Donald Trump. I kid, because it's so absurd that these are the folks who are going to be training, allegedly, the next generation of journalists, when I think the public has stood up and said, we're tired of the way folks like Scott Pelley twisted things with a liberal agenda for so long. I don't think there's much of a marketplace for it.
I think that's interesting. I know, potentially, though, on a college campus, even with grad students, Kym, those students may also come from very liberal undergraduate programs, and they may eat this up. And again, I don't want to make it something bigger than it is, but they may take some, I don't know, excitement or some genuine nuggets of, I'll say, learning or information in their own minds from these two people who, frankly, couldn't make it in the big leagues anymore.
Right. I mean, it totally just reinforces the left's ideology about what they've been doing and what they've been spewing. Also, it just goes right back to trust in the media, in the legacy media. Absolutely not. And as my colleague just said, maybe what Scott Pelley and his cohorts are going to be doing at Columbia is just helping these new, fresh journalists shape the narratives the way they want it to be, because that's exactly what they did with the Kamala Harris interview. They edited it so that we saw what they wanted us to see and not the truth. What they should be doing is shaping these young minds and these new journalists to pursue the truth and not a certain narrative.
Ed, don't you think that's part of the wider problem in our industry? Are these left-wingers at universities? This case, we're talking about Scott Pelley at Columbia University and shaping young minds, and then these kids get out and that's their perception of reality. Oh, we're slanted. We got to go after the right, and then that's what the state of news largely is now.
Right. It's institutional bias.
Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah, and it's beyond the college classroom. I mean, look at Dana Bash on CNN this past weekend, sparring with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. What was most remarkable is that she was still dug in on the same talking points from COVID, which admittedly, we didn't have all the facts 5-6 years ago. Journalists of all stripes were trying to figure out what's real, what's not. Well, you know what? 5-6 years later, we know Fauci lied repeatedly. We know now with our own eyes that he raised his right hand and 111 times took the fifth, his Fifth Amendment right against incrimination because he thought he might commit a crime by lying under oath. So how can you continue at CNN to defend these lies 5, 6 years later? So I'd extend it beyond 60 Minutes. I mean, this is what, the next generation is seeing, is these journalists, as you just heard from Kym, trying to shape political narratives instead of telling the truth. It's right in front of our eyes. Fauci lying, and they still dig in. They still defend him.
Yeah, and it's interesting because that is exactly what Secretary Kennedy pointed out to Dana Bash. She said, well, your job is to look at all of the sides and not just try to push one side down everyone's throat saying, well, she didn't do her job, and we'll see how these young Columbia journalism grads do after being taught by Scott Pelley and Alfonsi. All right, Kym, Ed, thank you.